What is business process reengineering, also known as BPR? BPR is a process where business of all sizes, small, medium, and large, take their business plan and their process of how they do business, and they reevaluate it. Why do they reevaluate it? Because it's going in a negative trajectory. It's going south. Mostly these businesses, most of them have small problems. A lot of them have large problems. Well, what they do is to help from these downward trajectories and to make them positive trajectories is they use BPR. What is BPR? BPR is a process. And how to use the process? First, you find the problem of your business. You find the root problem. Second, you find fixes to those problems. Usually the problems are with too much waste, not enough sales, or too many, or process where you have to cut back on employees. You have to do a lot of cutting back because of other external effects to the business. Now, when it comes to the fixes, you then have to try to develop a process in order to fix those problems. When you develop a process, you have to test it in the real world, in your real world business scenario. Once you test it and success, you implement it. BPR, it sounds complicated, mostly because it's new and we're still learning about it. But a great example of BPR was during World War II, the automotive manufacturer Toyota actually had a really big financial problem and it was going to go under. That was due to the Japanese turning its factories into supplies for the war, obviously. So the U.S. did too, but the government for the United States helped its big manufacturers, and the Japanese government did not do that much for Honda, Nissan, and Toyota, and its other automotive companies in Japan. Well, when Toyota was going under, they had to reevaluate its process. So they used BPR. They found out their problem. The problem was it had too much waste, had too much of an inventory, and they needed a fix to that problem, which the fix was a process they still use today. I will tell you the process. Once they found that fix, they developed a plan with their whole supply chain and how they were going to implement it. Once they had the process, they tested it. The testing worked. It worked great. It saved the company. And once they tested it, now it's still running into the company today. The method that they used was called just-in-time, JIT. This was first implemented by the founder of Toyota, Shigeru Toyota, and its vice president of the company at that time. The plan was basically, the problem was with Toyota, it had too much of an inventory, so they would order these parts from their suppliers, manufacture their cars, and ship them out. They had an abundant amount of cars. And when they were shipping them out to the United States, they were seeing that they were not getting enough sales. So what they did was, instead of making them and then shipping them, they had their dealers in the United States send reports of its previous months, how many cars it sold in the last, let's say, year or so, and then they used those numbers to find out how many cars every certain dealership needed. And on those numbers, that's how many cars the dealers ordered. Once the cars were ordered, then Toyota in Japan got its supplies from its suppliers, manufactured the vehicles, and shipped them out to the United States. This caused less waste because more cars were sold because there were an abundant amount of cars going out. They knew exactly how many cars to send. It lowered expenses for Toyota, and Toyota still uses this method. And actually, almost all automotive companies now use this method. And a lot of companies use a just-in-time method as well, because it reduces down on waste. And when you have less on waste, you have less expenses and more of a sufficient business plan. And BPR was a method that they used to change to becoming a positive and one of the richest automotive companies in the world today.